The Isle of Man TT is famous for speed, danger, and legends. Many people call it the longest, fastest, and most dangerous road race anywhere in the world. But behind the roar of the mountain course lies a history full of strange rules, forgotten races, and stories most fans may never have heard of. Today, we're diving into the hidden history of the TT, the facts they don't tell you on race day. Did you know that the TT only exists because Britain banned road racing? The TT wasn't created out of passion for speed, it was created because the UK government banned road racing. In 1903, the Motor Car Act slapped a 20 miles an hour speed limit on all public roads, making racing impossible. So organisers looked for a loophole and found it on the Isle of Man, where the government passed the Highways Light Locomotive Act, allowing racing on public roads. Without that ban in the UK and that law in the Isle of Man, the TT may never have existed. The TT course is famous for being 37.73 miles long. However, the TT course used to be over 52 miles long. Before the mountain course, the island hosted the Gordon Bennett Trials on a massive 52.15 mile high road course. Cars raced, that's right, cars raced 5 or 6 laps, taking over 7 hours to finish. This early experiment paved the way for motorcycle racing the very next year. Would you believe it, but the first TT course had gates and the riders had to open and close them. The early TT wasn't on the smooth tarmac roads that we know today. The original course was basically a horse and cart track, complete with farm gates. And here's the wild bit. The first rider each morning had to open every gate as they went through, and the last rider had to close them again, and setting a lap record while opening and closing farm gates. Incredible, isn't it? That very first TT in 1907 wasn't just all about speed. It was about fuel economy and reliability as well. The bikes had to meet strict fuel efficiency rules as well as many other rules. Single-cylinder bikes had to average 90 miles per gallon. Twins had to average 75 miles per gallon. And yes, they even had rules about the saddles, pedals, mudguards, and silencers. The TT, or the Tourist Trophy as it's known, started as a test of touring motorcycles, not racing machines. So they were more about longevity and reliability than they were outright speed. How things have changed. The legendary mountain course was first used in 1911, even though the TT actually started in 1907. This was basically because the bikes of the day couldn't climb the mountain section. The organisers had to come up with a new route for the motorbikes, which was around St. John's. There was a race that only happened once in TT history, and that was the historic TT of 1984. A one-off race added to the schedule during the classic bike boom. It featured pre-67 two-strokes and pre-73 four-strokes, and it made history when Dave Roper became the first American ever to win the TT race. The event was never repeated, making it a unique chapter in TT folklore. 1924 saw the birth of TT commentary. The very first commentator was G.S. Gus Dermott, a journalist for the Motorcycle magazine. He wasn't in a studio as they are now. He was perched on a wooden platform at the Craig, with a telephone, a notepad, a pair of binoculars, and a phone line back to the grandstand. There was no radio broadcast yet. He simply phoned in updates, which were then read aloud to the crowd at the grandstand through a loudhailer. It was the first time spectators could follow the race in real time instead of waiting for chalkboards or handwritten lap sheets. This was revolutionary, and the TT was the first road race in the world to attempt anything like it. The first actual radio broadcast came a few years later when the BBC began covering the TT in the 30s. These early broadcasts were extremely limited, often just short updates rather than full race commentary, but they set the foundation for what would become the iconic Manx Radio TT broadcast, which first came to air in 1964. In 1964, Manx Radio launched their first dedicated TT coverage from the island itself. This was the moment that TT commentary became what we recognize today. Live from multiple points around the course, instant timing updates, interviews with riders and teams, and the famous, warm, gritty sound we still have today of medium wave frequency 1368. Manx Radio TT quickly became the soundtrack of Race Week, and it still is today. And an interesting fact is that my stepdad was part of that original broadcast team for Manx Radio TT from the 1960s. And I still have his commentator's armband that he had, which was his kind of identification that he was part of the media team. So thank you for listening. If you have any other interesting stories or facts to share, please comment on the video below. Thanks for listening. Keep it TT. Bye-bye.